So this is a review for Hyde and Hare. And with me today, I've got both Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, my good friend Matt Hunter.
Ugh. Oh my, I don't know what came over me. I'm sorry, Anthony.
Oh, well, can you avoid drinking that liquid that you keep lying around? That just happens to be there.
Oh, that must be it. Oh, that vile concoction.
Just a few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is a review for Hyde and Hare, released on the 27th of August 1955. It's the 748th in the series, and it's directed by Friz Freleng. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 2 DVD set, and there is a HD version lurking around, which will hopefully make its way on some sort of Blu-ray set at some point, like a collector's vault or whatever, but we'll see what happens. You will not find it on YouTube. It is under copyright unless Warner Brothers themselves choose to upload it, and maybe they will around Halloween, I don't know. But in case you haven't seen it, you have Bugs. He's at the park where he sees his usual feeder, if you will, and then he makes a proposition. You know what? Let's avoid this usual thing that we do every single day. How about you adopt me as a pet and you can feed me at your home? Jekyll takes him to where he lives, and we get a whole bunch of shenanigans involving the whole Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story, where Bugs seems to think they're two separate people when we all know it's the one. So there's that.
Right, which Freleng and Robert McKimson did multiple variations of this gag, more often with Sylvester than anybody else. Of course, you have the one where there are kind of two variations of it. One, there is one entity who's two, like an actual Jekyll and Hyde, and the other is when there are two, there's like a Sylvester and a Panther. The person chasing them mistakes one for the other. Or it's Sylvester chasing a mouse, and there's also a kangaroo, Hippity Hopper, and he mixes the two up. So they're kind of different variations. But in this one, it's the real thing. Jekyll and Hyde, it's a double identity. Mr. Hyde, or Dr. Jekyll, or Jekyll, I think is how they pronounced it in Old English. He has this concoction that turns him into a monster, and he drinks it, but he can't really control when he transforms. And Bugs only has ever seen him as the gentle doctor, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll go home with you. Why don't you make me your pet? And then you can feed me at home, and then hilarity ensues.
Exactly, and this is a nice one. It's maybe not the most brilliant short ever made or whatever, but it's a fun one, and I think it's done really well, especially during this period of time where Friz Freleng is directing shorts in the quote-unquote UPA type style, and then you've got the character designs where everyone's got those square heads, as my good friend Mark Arnold mentions that might be the inspiration for pop vinyls, you know, those little pop vinyl dolls.
Pops. Yeah. Total coincidence. But what's not a coincidence for sure is these backgrounds. I've always said that Friz Freleng made better UPA cartoons than UPA did a lot of the time.
Yes.
This background designer, Irv Wyner here, you see him a lot in the 50s cartoons, particularly these that were just right before the shutdown, and then even more so after. You know, there was that shutdown for 3D where Warner Brothers panicked and said nobody will ever buy a 2D cartoon again, and then, you know, completely reneged on that eventually. But you notice this is one of the first cartoons, Warner Brothers anyway, that references television at all. Because television was brand new. You'll see in the background TV antennas on a couple of the houses, a couple of the buildings. It's like, where have we seen that in a cartoon before? And then you start seeing references to Liberace and also to The Honeymooners. And all of these things were just on early television.
And the whole Honeymooners reference is Jackie Gleason's character, Ralph Cramden, when the line is said,
You are a mental case.
So that's a line from that show. But what's interesting is that The Honeymooners, as in the classic 39, came out in 55, but this would have been production perhaps in 54. So I'm not as familiar with The Honeymooners or the Jackie Gleason show beforehand. So if you know more about it, let me know in the comments. Was that line, you are a mental case, was that said in the original Jackie Gleason show prior to The Honeymooners?
Yeah, that would be interesting to know. It might have been just one of the catchphrases that Gleason used, but either way, The Honeymooners was brand new at this point, and Liberace was a popular musician and also TV personality. So there you go. I wish my brother George was here.
Yeah, it's the first time.
And you see that reference, a couple of times in these
Exactly,
cartoons.
including Three Little Bops, which I can't wait to get to that one. So
I wish my brother George was here. George. That's my brother George. Come over here, George.
I wish my brother George was here.
Whenever you see in a cartoon, I wish my brother George was here, that is a reference to Liberace, because that's what he would say as he's playing along, because he was a great pianist, but he was also an amazing entertainer. It's hard to explain to people just how big the guy actually was in terms of entertainment and all his flashy costumes and the candelabras and, you know, all kinds of stuff. It was just a full-on thing.
Yeah, from what I've seen of him, I almost think, you know, Liberace walked so that Elton John could run.
Yes.
He was a piano-playing guy. He was a flamboyant guy. He wore these crazy costumes, these big capes and crazy things. And it's like, well, that's obviously an inspiration to Elton John or even to somebody like Lady Gaga now.
And even Elvis Presley, he asked,
Elvis,
like all the
absolutely.
70s costumes, that came from this same designer. So it's all connected. And who would have thought we'd be talking about Elvis in this review? But, you know, I just wanted to let people know, just how big a deal Liberace really was at the time. And if you get a chance to look at one of his performances on YouTube or wherever, definitely do yourself a favor and do so.
I wish my brother George was here.
Yeah. But one thing is a bit of a question mark. I'm reading that some folks attribute that the Doctor appearance and the voice are based on Peter Lorre, and I'm sort of skeptical. Maybe some parts not. I don't know. What do you think?
I really don't think so, because I think the design with the kind of droopy eyes and all that, I think that's definitely got some Peter Lorre in him, but it almost feels like there's another, I can't put my finger on who it is, but maybe another actor or personality that they were going for here, because especially with Mel Blanc, you look at his history of doing Peter Lorre impressions, they're all over the 1940s cartoons, the Clampett stuff in particular, and even Chuck Jones. Of course, you get that wonderful Peter Lorre in Hair-Raising Hare, who's the mad scientist owner of the monster, you know. I have another little friend who would like to meet or eat you. Don't you ever wish you could tell somebody on the phone at work when they're ticking you off, you know, from Birth of a Notion against Daffy Duck, where he's like, I should do terrible, horrible things to you.
Don't you know that might make me very angry now? I would do terrible, horrible things to you.
It was Stan Freberg who did that one. So Freberg and Blank, who both worked on, of course, Friz Freleng's cartoons as well. But they had impressions of Peter Lorre that were not like this one.
Or it's some kind of a like obscure role where Peter Lorre was more soft-spoken or something. I don't know. But if you guys know more, definitely let us know in the comments below. But one interesting little factoid that comes from Keith Scott's Wonderful Cartoon Voices book is that an actor by the name of Jack Edwards was going to provide a voice for this short, and it was recorded, but the lines were not used. And we're trying to figure out where could the voices have been used, maybe for the monster itself or something.
Now that, or the only thing I can think of is maybe there was a line spoken by somebody else in the park. And we've determined that toward the end, spoiler alert, there's a woman screaming at the end. And they said that was a reused bit of B. Benaderet, who had pretty much retired from Warner Brothers cartoons at this point to go focus on TV. Again, television taken over. But a park patron would be the only thing I would think of that maybe was used and then cut.
And I think the Jack Edwards that's been referred to, there was one actor here, born in 1919, but passed away in 2008, and he was in a whole bunch of radio shows and, of course, television once that started, and various movies. I think this is the Jack Edwards anyway that I found online. So, in any case, we're here to talk about this particular short. And with all these references and stuff, the important thing is this cartoon any good? We already mentioned that, yeah, it's a decent one, and I reckon we take a look at this one from start to finish and see whether this is yet another Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story that warrants our attention, because it's done so many of these. So if the opening titles sound familiar to you, because the music here is done by Carl Starling, not Milt Franklin, it's the same music cue as from Hair-Raising Hare. So, if that sounds familiar to you, that's where it comes from. So, I guess Carl Stalling's like, oh, yeah, sounded good before, might as well use it, right?
Yeah, and the drawing on the title card is great, too. Great foreshadowing, really. Bugs Bunny making a scary pose, and then, of course, that stylized shadow behind him. Very, Very cool.
Oh, for sure. And we open up in the park, and I gotta say, these shorts, and you already mentioned that Friz Freleng did better UPA cartoons than UPA. I've noticed that a lot of his shorts around this time period in the mid-50s, they just look like storybooks. You can pause just about any frame, and it looks like something that you could see in the picture book around this time.
Yeah, one of the little golden books or something like that.
Yeah, we see all the old ladies feeding the birds, including one old man who seems to be there just enjoying the company of these old ladies, I don't know. But anyway, they're having a good time, and we see that Bugs pops out of his hole.
Little old ladies with their bags of popcorn and breadcrumbs for the pigeons. Speaking of pigeons, the little guy who feeds me carrots every morning is about due.
If you look very closely, what I love about the animation here is the fact that he has a watch all of a sudden. It doesn't click unless you're really looking for it, just the transition of him not having a watch to having a watch and then not having a watch again, you know?
Right. He only needs it just when it calls for it. Why have continuity and draw it when you don't
Exactly.
need to?
You know, it's similar to how he has pockets sometimes, putting pens away, that kind of stuff. Bugs is looking over going, well, I have my own guy, and, you know, he's looking at the clock, he's looking around thinking, oh, where is he? Oh, there he is. And it's this meek, mild guy that looks like, again, a Funko Pop.
He looks completely innocent, but having seen the title of the cartoon anyway, and then you see the sign, it's Dr. Jekyll, and you're like, uh-oh. We know that story, and so once you see that name, you're like, okay, now we know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And my favorite bit of animation is actually around here, where Bugs actually acts like a rabbit, and because he doesn't have the proportions of an actual proper rabbit, he's basically a humanoid rabbit, it just looks ridiculous, him acting like a rabbit, but he doesn't look like a rabbit in proportional wise. It's hilarious.
Right. It's like he's playing along with it. It's like, okay, I'll go along with a gag. Once we get to the house, though, then he stands up and he's his normal humanoid rabbit. So
And he starts talking to him at the park as well. He's like,
We go through this every day. Gets me up early, gets you up early. What do you say you adopt me as a pet? You could feed me in bed. What do you say, Doc? Is it a deal, huh?
I like the fact that Mr. Hyde's just like, he thinks it's normal. Oh, there's a fully grown talking rabbit in front of me. You know, it's just normal. You know, you just go along with it. It's all in good fun, of course. And, you know, Bugs proposes this deal and Mr. Hyde accepts. He's like, all right, I'll adopt you. And that one line always kills me. Carry me.
carry me. Yes.
Carry me. It's strange that you should call me Doc. I happen to be a doctor.
And then, you know, of course, you get to the house, you see the sign, so now you know it's Dr. Jekyll, and you're like, okay. And I love the shot once they get into the house. There's this perspective shot of Bugs talking to Jekyll. Like, they could have just staged it with the two standing next to each other, or, you know, straightforward like that. But no, it's like it's shot from the top of the staircase. And it's like almost a bird's eye view of the two talking. And I think that's really kind of cool. It's extra. It's like they didn't have to do it that way, but it adds something.
You got this wonderful little layout just showcasing just how grand this house is. And it's just the simplest of shots, as you say, just from the staircase to tell us, how grand this house actually is. And Bugs approaches the piano. And I've always loved Bugs' mispronunciations, and does it here, it's the Minute Waltz by Chopin.
Wall-to-wall carpeting? Hey, I'm gonna like this. Minute Waltz by Chopin.
I love just the simplicity of, again, layouts. Look at how Bugs approaches the piano and how he plays the piano in this compared to how he did years earlier in 1946 when he did Rhapsody Rabbit. The detail that was on that piano and the detailed animation and all that kind of stuff, this is just really stripped down.
Yeah, and I do have one question for our mutual friend Matty Cruz, the 2D tenor. Let us know, please. Are these musical notes, is this correct, the music sheet, in terms of what actually gets played? Because I can't read sheet music, so yeah, go nuts. Let us know, okay?
I can't either, but it looks like probably not. It's very stylized.
I'm looking at the top left. It's like down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, I'm assuming it's real, but yeah, Manny can tell us. And so we see that Bugs sits at the piano as we see our Dr. Jekyll. He's looking at his concoction.
So he left it there for later.
He's saying, oh, I'm so weak, and he even breaks the 4-4, saying as much as he drinks this wonderful concoction, which I gotta say, it looks nice. It kind of reminds me of like a raspberry fizzy drink or soda pop, whatever you call it in your part of the world.
It looks like a soda that we have here in Texas called Big Red, which I actually and probably one of the few people from Texas who don't like Big Red. I think it's disgusting. It's like a red cream soda. The flavor is something I can't really describe except as disgusting. But a lot of people say it goes really well with barbecue. I am not a fan, but it's red and it's very fizzy.
Well, I've got to try it when I come up to Texas one day. I definitely still want to try it. Maybe I'll like it.
Yeah, a lot of people like it. I'm not one of them, but it looks like Big Red.
Yeah, and we see the transformation sequence where it's not really flamboyantly animated like you would see maybe a Bob Clampett cartoon or whatever, but I don't know if it's that Art Davis maybe, because it is kind of loose when he transforms from the Doctor to the monster.
I don't know.
I think it is.
But the timing of it is really interesting because it's like basically 5 poses. 1, he takes the drink. 2, he flinches. 3, he starts turning green. 4, he gets really stiff. And then 5, you reveal his face as a monster. And Stallings' music backing it up, it's just really brilliant.
Yeah, and other reason I think it's Art Davis is because in a few shorts recently, especially post-shutdown, you have a lot of shots done by Art Davis where it's just a few different drawings and that's it, and it's like these poses. So I think it's him. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments below. It is a little bit more restrained, but I think it's him. But we cut to Bugs Bunny saying the whole, I wish my brother George was here, setting up the piano. And again, another question for Manny. Tell me if Bugs is playing the piano accurately here, because sometimes they'll animate someone playing the piano, but it doesn't quite match the notes on the sheet. It's not a big deal, but I'm just curious, is it close enough?
And then it's not going to be close here in a second, because then we're going to get one of the most brilliantly staged and drawn shots in Looney Tunes history. Right here. He's playing the piano. He's got his eyes closed so that he opens his eyes without even turning around. You just get that held expression of Bugs and the held expression of Mr. Hyde behind him. And his fingers are all starting to go completely out of whack while he's playing the piano. And that's all it is for 3 or 4 seconds, is just that held pose.
Yeah, when you're a professional piano player that can play so well, like the minute waltz, as Bugs says, to play badly, it's harder than you think, because you have to remind yourself to play badly, even though you actually know what you're doing. But I like the idea here where Bugs thinks that the Doctor is an actual, I guess, general practitioner, just a regular doctor. It's like, wow, you look awful. The Doctor definitely needs to see you, despite the fact that it's the same hat and everything. It's pretty much the same clothes. But the one pose I love is when Bugs pushes him onto the seat, and it's just that scrunched up face he's got, the whole, what are you doing face?
Oh, yeah.
Just that squished up face just kills me every time, especially, you've got the bent nose, and there's just that look. But we see the next bit that the lamp gets chopped, and that's kind of a weird one. It happens so fast, you can barely even see the axe actually chopping it.
Yeah. In the previous shot, you haven't seen the axe before. But then you see in the next shot, you get the idea what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even if you don't see that swing, because it is very quick, and that shot, that's quite cinematic, actually. It really emphasizes the actual terror of this monster. I like that shot there.
Yeah, I love the bits of perspective that they put in this cartoon. And they didn't have to. They could have just gone completely flat UPA, but yet you have these stylized stagings. That front-on shot of the monster, that expression, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I think the idea, too, the backgrounds are so much black and red. It's a really styling cartoon.
Exactly. And, because most of this short actually is basic staging, and there's nothing wrong with that, but then it's just got these nice little peppering in of these other wonderful shots to emphasize danger. You think the Bugs really is in danger. He could get hurt in this. I mean, he won't. We all know that, but still, you forget about that, and it's done so well. As Bugs thinks, there's still 2 separate people, he's yelling out for the Doc, and the Doc ends up transforming back in another wonderful shot. I mean, how many drawings is that? I mean, that's like, what, 1, 2, 3?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. There you go. Just like 3 shots.
One frame where it looks like he's got 4 eyes. There's like 2 eyes in the hat as well. It looks like it doesn't work, and yet in sequence it works really well. And so Bugs sees the Doc, and he's like, oh, Doc, there you are. And he still doesn't get it. He's so naive here. Why is he holding the axe? But anyway.
I love how in some cartoons, Bugs Bunny is always one step ahead of everything and feigns being naive, you know. He's clearly messing with the villain, but here, no, I don't think he gets it until later. You know?
Exactly.
And I love that. I love that they could actually go between Bugs being all-knowing and way ahead of the game, and then here, he's not following this one.
And I like how he's describing to the doc about this monster, and that one brief pose he does of the monster, just the way it's designed, it's hilarious, complete with the toes being curled as well. Such a great little shot there. Maybe that could be the new Chungus type thing. Spread that frame around, and sure enough, he's dragging the doc to find this monster, and again, Bugs is not getting it because he turns back into the monster.
Yee! Hey, Doc! Oh, Doc! Doc! Come here! Doc! Doc! Oh, it's you. Where have you been?
Oh, sure, and hand him a shotgun. That's a real great idea.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I wish he hadn't given me this.
Just the timid nature of the Doctor is just hilarious. Bugs even hammers in this door, and the funny thing is, once he realizes that the monster's actually trapped with him again, not understanding, Bugs just rips the door open. He's just so strong all of a sudden. He's strong when he has to be, right?
I love the transformation again here. And again, we're getting experimental stuff where this time it's almost like they've got two cells on top of each other to emphasize vibration. He's got the gun. He's like, oh no, I wish he hadn't given me this. And then he makes the expression and then you freeze frame that. It's two cells held on top of each other and then shuffled. That is just wild animation with only 2 or 3 cells. It's weird stuff, but it works.
Yeah, there's some great stuff in here to freeze frame. So even in some of these late 1950s stuff, you can still find some real animation gems and some really weird, wonky frames, and yet it all works perfectly.
Watch where you're pointing that gun.
So they end up leaving the actual basement, and they end up going inside a closet, you know? Bugs is saying, hey, hide in here, and yeah, sure enough, we just see eyes animated, and I guess it's one way to cut costs.
How many times in cartoons have we done that?
Yeah.
You know, that is a cartoon trope dating back, I think, to the silent days.
Yeah, but it works, and I guess it's one way to cut costs for at least a few seconds anyway.
Classic gag and cheap.
So the doc goes to the laboratory, he's looking for the bunny, and he ends up saying to him, no, I'm not going to drink the potion anymore, and, oh, where is the potion? But we've seen gags recently that Friz would do where it'll be like Sylvester going, sody pop.
You never see Bugs actually drink it,
No.
do you? Sylvester, you do see him drink it in the other cartoon, but Bugs, you never see it. And then he gets offended by being accused of it, and he walks out. Because if you'd shown him drink it, it wouldn't be funny.
And that makes the joke really work here, and Bugs is offended that his integrity is being questioned. I'm going back to the park, and he just leaves in a huff.
Oh my, did you drink this? Me? Why, I've never been so insulted in all my life. This, sir, puts an end to our friendship.
We don't see Hyde again, and we're back in the park. We hear that Bea Benedette scream, and that monster design of Bugs.
It's great, yes. And the artistic styling of it, too. Look how he's green, and the grass and the park bench are also green. And then you've got that red iris on his eye. It kind of echoes the tree in the background. Like, there's some serious art direction going on here. We need to kind of give Mr. Irv Wyner some praise here, because that is really well done.
Exactly.
And that is on par with, if not better than, UPA in that respect. Like the composition of this cartoon, the color styling of this cartoon, the design of this cartoon.
Because green on green technically shouldn't work, and yet it does here.
And yet it does, because you've got the complementary colors. So you got the red on Bugs's eyes and on the tree. And so you've got the juxtaposition. You've got red in the foreground, red in the background, green everywhere else. It's really, it's subtle, but wow.
Yeah, it's done really well, and we finish with that wonderful line. Now what's eating them? You'd think they'd never seen a rabbit before. And yeah, we end right there.
It's a brilliant cartoon that a lot of people think is brilliant. It was a Saturday morning staple for years. I don't think as much as the Sylvester and Tweety one they did. Great one.
Yeah, I like this one, and it's not one that I've actually seen that often. I've actually seen Hide and Go Tweet a lot more often because of Crackbusters. So I'm more familiar with that one. But this one's still a great one, and it was a nice little surprise. I know a lot of people have seen this one often because of Saturday mornings, and yet I didn't. I think this is a great one. I think it gets, 9 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It's fun.
I think so, too. Really great cartoon.
Yeah, but with all the budgetary shortcuts they have to do, they do so effectively here, and yet It's like they took on the challenge.
Yeah, they make lemonade out of lemons. Okay, we have a lower budget. Well, let's get artistic then with it. And they really
Exactly.
do. And it's just so subtle.
I think Friz adapted to the budgetary thing the best because Chuck Jones' unit always had a high budget regardless, so he was able to get away with more, but because Friz's had it lower, he adapted better, I think, than McKimson did, in my opinion, but, it is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
Now what's eating them? Huh? You'd think they never saw a rabbit before.